Yeah, man, we on site TV, man. We got Heartbeatz, man.
Hey,
Everybody,
man.
everybody already know what's going on with you, bro.
You got Heartbeatz in your breathing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Let these people know a little bit about yourself, bro.
Multi-platinum engineer slash producer. Most known for my catalog with JD Youngin, but shit, it go way beyond that. I'm in Mississippi. And we here to try to change the ship, try to keep up with the rest of them, and that's about it. You ain't got a heartbeat, you ain't breathing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Let them know, man, about that Heartbeatz, man, title, bro. Cause I've been in Mississippi, bro, and man, you a giant out here.
Mm-hmm.
Get these folks that backstory, man. What just got you into that? What made you Heartbeatz, bro?
Well, I always played the piano, so like my beats naturally kind of like heartfelt. You know what I'm saying? So it started off really me just telling people that my beat is a heartbeat. You see what I'm saying? Like, but then they just started calling me Heartbeatz. You know what I'm saying? And my name used to be OJ, and then I would tell them, this is a heartbeat, and they just started calling me Heartbeatz. But yeah, and then my nigga Teasy gave me the slogan: "If you ain't got a heartbeat, you ain't breathing." I just kept that and ran with it.
Oh yeah. How far they go back, man? When you first started, like, what captured you to start pursuing that music?
Shit, no limit in cash money. I ain't gonna lie. I said I made it fresh, and KLC. They was the hardest thing smoking on the beats back then, and then just the whole movement with Master P and them and Birdman. It was just. I said that's what I wanted to do. Not just making beats, but like creating a movement like they did, And we ain't never had that around here in Mississippi. That's why I chose to stay here instead of going and do it in other places.
Okay. So you from Mississippi originally?
Nah, Oregon. I moved from Oregon when I was 11. Yeah, but I really say I'm from here because it's like, this is where I learned my roots and stuff. You know what I'm saying? In Mississippi. Like, this was my creativity came from. But I do love Oregon. Shout out to all my family out there. But I just moved so young, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just say this where I'm from. Keep that confusion. But I do,
Okay. So how you said you was inspired, with Man the Freshener, you feel me?
Yeah.
How did you get over that way? Like in that area, just start getting even around though?
Man, it's hard to remember. I think OG Golden though. It was a rap group in Picayune that kind of like, I guess, had me cater toward listening to rap. You know what I'm saying? And once I kind of dove into it, and just started listening to it, that's who I gravitated toward, Master P and Manny Freshman. But yeah, it was a rap group in Picayune called High Life Hustlers. And then another one called KO Mafia. Both of them was like inspiration to like dig deep into the music. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then my cousin started a record label called Act Right Records. That was after he heard me make a beat one time. I brought the keyboard home from church. I used to play for a church when I was about 16, 17. And he had just came home from the All-Star weekend. He had just got drafted into the NBA. And he heard the beat that I made. He was like, man, I'm finna start a record label. He said, you gonna be my beat man. And I was like, I bet. So a couple months later, my other cousin came and said, man, did you see that studio equipment Jonathan just bought you? Shout out Jonathan Bender. And I was like, nah. So he brought me to New Orleans. He had just bought a house, a mansion, and they ain't had nothing in the whole house but a studio. No furniture, no nothing. Because he in Indiana playing ball. Like I just said, it was just All-Star weekend, so he had to go back. So anyway, he bought the house, put the studio in it. My cousin brought me down there and dropped me off in the studio. And shit, I never left. I was like 17 years old, and I've been in the studio ever since. I ain't never had another job since then. Never did nothing else since then. Yeah.
Dang, man. So for you getting that mindset to not even want to have to try to do that job stuff?
I might have been a little older than that, because it was his second contract. When he signed his first contract, that ain't when he started the record label. 3 years after that. So I was probably about 20, something like that. Yeah. What was you about to say, my bad?
But like, you good? So what made your mindset like take that serious like that? Cause it took a lot to get in your brain. Like, man, I'm not gonna do no job. You feel? I'm gonna take this serious.
That was easy. My cousin, the NBA player.
Yeah. Okay.
man, seeing what he had firsthand, bro, I was like, man, ain't no way I'm finna live a life and don't try to get what he got. And ain't no job for the, you see what I'm saying? And I was good at music already, so I was like, man, one day I'm gonna get there. Man, dude had families, Ferraris, Aston Martins, Range Rovers, Benzes. He had 14, 15 cars at one time. You see what I'm saying? Like, mansions, like stuff that you only see on TV, bro. Like, so it's like, I said, the only way I'm gonna get to that point is to chase my dream like he did. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't that hard.
Yeah, man, that process, man. So when did you realize that you had your own name? Like, when you realized that, all right, you was with your cousin, you feel me? Then you realize, like, all right, I'm me now, like, I'm doing my thing.
When he stopped his record label.
Oh.
Yeah, see, he had a record label. I had one too, but I was kind of like learning through his moves. But after like 6 years, he stopped. He had us all on payroll, like everybody was on payroll. So I was making money off music the time I started. You know what I'm saying? So once he stopped that, it's like either go to work, cause I ain't getting the $2,000 a month I was getting no more. You see what I'm saying? Either go to work or start a studio.
Okay.
See, that nigga gave me that studio equipment, and I started the studio. I left it like that, man. I've been in the studio every day since. For real.
Dang, man.
Yeah, I ain't even, I'm not saying for other kids to do this, but I ain't even finished high school. Like, I had a half a credit left. But when he brought me down to New Orleans, put me in that studio, it was during the summertime. And I didn't go back to school to go get that other half a credit. They had changed it to uniforms and shit. I'm like, nah, man, I'm too player for that shit, man. I'm finna finish this music shit, put my 10,000 hours in. I ain't finna go wear no uniform. It was a pride thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my advice to a kid who drops out of high school, have a reason to do it and stick with that reason, because it can get ugly if you ain't got the proper, the proper accolades, like GEDs at least, or degrees and stuff like that. If you just out here with nothing, and no dream, no hope, no business mind, no nothing, don't drop out of high school. But I had a dream, and I figured like I had straight A's and B's. I wasn't dumb at all. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I knew about everything I needed to know in school. So I just started my own business venture. I incorporated my business in 2010, Heartbeatz Entertainment.
Okay. And on your transition on that, when you did you just get your placements off the rip, or did you go through some bumps before you just started getting those big name placements that put you on the?
Kind of off the rip, I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, kind of off the rip, and I it's because my cousin was in New Orleans already around some people, but he let me produce his artists. Like, once I got good at making beats, he let me produce one of his artists' tape. Now, I wasn't the main producer in my cousin's record label.
Okay.
I was shadowing up under some very big producers right now. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Crack Tracks, Law, which he over there at Rock Nation. Jay-Z and Beyonce came to his wedding in New Orleans. So this one guy I was shadowing up under. He went on to do great things. And another guy was IG, and him as well. Like, that's who ATL Jacob signed with IG. They were Atlantic, he went on to do big, huge things. So I'm the little guy that was, come to the studio, show me how to do this, show me how to do that. So yeah, just basically, you just stick with it, bro. That's how to do it. To be honest, that's how you make that decision. You just stick with it, and you ain't got no choice but to. You know what I'm saying? But I did have some good mentors. So I guess like cheat code. That's how I started getting the placements. But just stick with it, and they gonna rack up as they go. I've seen people come through and got no help, and rack them up. Just off consistency and being good at what they do.
That's why I was going to ask you next. Like, that's where that come from. You seeing the people that around you do that hustle mentality, that keep going, patience and stuff. Cause you really build the way you move. Yeah. It ain't too fast, but it's moving. You feel me?
See, our generation was a little different. Bro, I'm in my third generation in this music, bro. Like, I'm stepping into my third generation, and ours was the generation without the internet. So you had to go out and you had to hit the cities and you had to do this stuff, you know. So it's a lot of people around here that know me, bro, like, because I'd have been so many places, not just on my phone, you know what I'm saying? I think that's one thing that slows a lot of people down too. You just on your phone, man. You try to get everything accomplished on your phone. But yeah, it's networking really is the key, bro. I might have had a slow grind, but it's always been consistent and it's always done this. Like I ain't never, of course, like the stock market, you know, you gonna have some dips, cause yeah, nigga do have some dips, but it's doing this the whole time. You see what I'm saying? So I'm cool with that. I ain't gotta shoot straight to the top. We could walk there instead of being, you know, instead of running, and I'm cool with that. I got a solid team. They help me out, and I help them out, and we just, you know, how God designed it. That's how we rolling with it.
Yeah, man. So on your placement, I know you done had a lot of them, bro. Like, what's your craziest story you done had on one of your big placements that you can help producers out on getting ready? Like,
definitely Pimp C placement. Okay. Pimp C had just came down and performed in Mississippi. I was producing for an artist named 17 from Pastor Christian, and at the time he had that bread. I haven't seen him in a long time, so I can't count his pockets now. But at the time he had that bread. So we in the studio. He had paid me for an album, and then he paid me for an album full of beats, and I didn't see him no more for a year. He didn't pick damn beat out or nothing. He just cashed out all the money, and then this is my first time meeting him. Cashed out all the money. He left, and didn't see him for a year. Then a year later, he come back and just started going verse crazy, buying verses from my Pimp C, I believe. If I ain't mistaken, it might not have been the first one, but to me that was the most impactful. Just because of the journey that came with it. So we was in the studio one day, and he was like, "Man, you know, I always want to do a song with Pimp C." And a guy was in the studio session with him. They owned a clothing store, the name Mon. He owned a clothing store on the coast. And he was like, "Man, Pimp C just came to my store last week when he was down here performing. He gave me his number." So 17 was like, "Man, call him." He called him. He was like, "Man, I got a guy, he want to get a verse from me." So 17 come get the phone. He walk outside. He talking to Pimp C. We inside. He stopped the whole session now. Walk outside. He come back inside. He said, "I need 2 beats. I'm finna go to Texas tomorrow and do a verse with Pimp C. Do a song with Pimp C." He go down to Texas. Me and Iceberg whipped up this beat called True Story. And he went down there. He dropped on both the beats we made. And then end up signing 17 to UGK, yeah. So and doing a Pimp C Presents project on him, and I produced that. And he only did 2 Pimp C Presents albums in his whole life. Pimp C Presents Boosie and Webby, Pimp C Presents 17, and I produced the 17 project. So it's like that album went on to sell about 100,000 copies at least. And his name was on fire in Houston, all over Mississippi, like, you know what I'm saying? And then 6 months later, Pimp C get killed.
Huh.
So, yeah, that was the second rapper death that kind of like shocked my community. Cause like Soulja Slim and my cousin, they played ball, was real cool. So when he died or got killed, you know, I was hoping to work with Soulja Slim. I was just getting good on them beats and stuff like that. So then hopefully one day I can give him something. He was on fire back then too, Soulja Slim. Then he get killed. Then Pimp C died. Then my homeboy Magic died. JD Youngin died. Mine's did. So you keep going through this cycle over and over and over again. Racked up, ready, dead. And him and my nigga Wayne was cool at one time. And he introduced me to him. The time I met him, he died. All kind of rappers there, man. But yeah, that's about it though, man.
Yeah, man. Well, what do you like? All right, we got a bunch of. It's a lot of artists, man. That's always saying they want to work with you, man. What do you got to say with? What you got advice for them that I want to work with you? You feel me? But they don't know how. But what you got to tell them folks, man?
Go to my Instagram page and call the number in the bio, and call them, come work with me. I love working with everybody. So I ain't biased to nobody, and there ain't a certain particular type of music that I like. I like it all. If it's music, I like making it. So don't never think that I don't want to work with you. I done heard people, say all kind of stories, man, but they ain't true. Like, get in this booth and you gonna know. Like, yeah, it ain't like that.
And another thing, I know a lot of people want me to ask about this because they ask me, man, because a lot of people know you for this, like around this area, because of course it's their generation.
Mm-hmm.
Man, how was it how did you run into Jay Da Youngin, bro?
Man, that was the craziest story I'm finna tell to cut this arrow off fade for us. It's a crazy story. I knew JD Youngin's older cousin, and I used to record them. And they said they used to bring JD Youngin to the studio when he was a kid, but I don't know. But they was doing a mixtape with Scotty Kane. That's who it was. And at the time, I had just came back from Atlanta. I had stayed in Atlanta 2 years. I had a plan to stay in Atlanta 2 years, I said. And I went with nothing. Shout out to my wife. She gave me $1,000. I put my $1,000 with her. I got a studio down in Atlanta. But after I came back from the 2 years, I was staying on my brother's couch, Bo, in Picayune, and didn't really have, I didn't want people to see how I was living at the time, so I would use his house to record the closet, so I would just record Picayune people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And at the time I was saving up my money and building a studio in Hattiesburg on the side. I didn't want to go get no apartment and shit. My money I'm making off my brother, to go build a studio with it. So anyway, JD Youngin reached out and said, man, not JD Youngin, his older cousin said, I got a cousin that's rapping and I need you to come down here and record him sometime and we'll pay you $250 every time you come, 4 hours. I said, all right, bet. So I'm building this studio in Hattiesburg. I know I need the money. I don't really want everybody to see how I'm living at the time. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm really on the couch, you know what I'm saying? Down bad, for real. And I would just go down there and record him 3 times a week. So that's $750 a week just off that one person, which is $3,000 a month. So it took me 8 months to build my studio in Hattiesburg. Once I opened that studio, JD Youngin started coming to the studio, and I went and got an apartment in Hattiesburg. The rest was history, bro. So that's really how it happened. But they had called me down there to record JD Youngin on the Scotty Kane. See, I used to go down there and just mix. At that time, I was just mixing. In them 4 hours, I was just going down there and I'm mixing for them. But then they called me one time to engineer, and they were doing a tape with Scotty Kane, so they wanted an experienced engineer to come in there and, record it. And he just fell in love with the recording, and that's when he started coming to me, you know what I'm saying? The dude that was recording him down there, I'm the guy who showed him how to record. You see what I'm saying? His older cousin. So, of course, he was going to love how I record. But yeah, he just started coming to the Bird. And I told him I can't go to Bo no more and record you, man. It's dangerous down there. Yeah, man, it's dangerous down there. And I'm all about safety, bro. So I try my best not to move around too much, you know what I'm saying? Especially in those areas that I don't know that well. But fortunately, Bogalusa, I know a lot of people in Bogalusa and been knowing a lot of people in Bogalusa for years, way before JD Youngin blew up through other stuff besides music. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it goes back a long ways. And I've been cool with a lot of people down there. So Bo cool, but a lot of places, you just try to keep your movement down, try to keep it safe. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's how. That was the beginning of something huge, man. Real big. Yeah. At first, I didn't do his beats. I was just mixing his music, and he wasn't big either. At that time, when I met JD Youngin, he had 2,000 followers. I had 5,000. JD Youngin got 3 million now, and I seen the whole each 1,000 add on. You feel me? But at the time, he had started getting hot, and I didn't know. And one time I had went down to Bogalusa to pick up some money. He had owed me for some studio time, and I had brought Dooley with me. Dooley from up here in Hattiesburg. And when we got back, maybe a couple weeks later, Dooley made a post, and he was like, I just realized that was JD Youngin in the truck with me and Heartbeatz when we went to Bogalusa. I'm like, what are you making that post for? Who the fuck is JD Youngin? For you to be making that type of post. And nigga said, boy, you ain't know JD Youngin lit. Nigga pulled up a video that I recorded for him, a song, that had 1 million views. I'm not knowing. I'm recording, nigga, not knowing he out here hitting 200,000 views, 500,000 views, 1 million views. So, you know, I instantly seen dollar signs in my eyes. I said, man, I'm finna start learning how to make this nigga beats. You know, I had just came from Atlanta, so I'm making Atlanta beats and shit. I ain't making the Louisiana. I used to. You know, I made the y'all better not fighting this bitch and all that shit. So I make the Louisiana shit, but I was in Atlanta. So it took me a year, for a whole year. I kind of like would just record him, listen to his sound and shit like that. And then a year later, I made a beat that I feel like I'm finna show this nigga. And that was Mud Brothers. I showed him the beat. He recorded to it, put it out on World Star. It hit 4 million views. That was my first time ever hitting 1 million views on YouTube, ever. So what I did with that beat, I took that beat, I made it in the Pro Tools, and I made a template out of that beat, right? To where all my beats would be made with these same drums. I just do different sounds and shit like that and rearrange them differently and shit like that. But the volume's gonna be the same, drums gonna be hitting the same, all that shit. The next album I had 14 out of 16 beats. That was Forever 23. That's his biggest album to date right now. And that's one of my most prized possessions because I felt like I locked in with him and mastered what he likes. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then after that each album, you know, me and the team getting buku, you know, I ended up signing a bunch of heroes and shit like that because like I didn't want times for him to come in the studio and be like, what you got from the beat? And I ain't got nothing for him. So I went and signed me some heroes that I know y'all gonna have some shit for them. That way we don't never miss no placement, and I just take a little cut out of that for getting you on the album, you know what I mean? And that's how we built that. I started the heroes in Atlanta though, with my nigga E Major and Rich Clay. Yeah, shout out to them. But we brought this shit to the Silk.
And you know, you say you was in Atlanta doing it, so you gonna have a good perspective on this. So what's the difference on the cultures with Mississippi music and other music around other places you done been, man? What we need to do to get right?
Work together. Man, them niggas, man, it was 22 studios in the building I had the biggest one. Shout out to Hustle. Took us in like we were family. We is family, that's my brother. But stripper pole and everything, they had it laid out. That was our second studio. First studio was the one my wife helped me get off Peter Street. And then I left that studio and ended up getting another one off of, I think it was off of, I can't remember. Oh, it was off of Northside Drive. Yeah, somewhere around there. I just can't remember the exact street name, but yeah. But yeah, Metro Boom them had a studio in there. Man, so Zaytoven had a studio in there. He had just left right before I got there. My nigga Travis Cherry, he produced all that Jay Holiday music. He had a studio in there. Ours. It's crazy because Street Execs came and took everybody out of the building and went and made their own building. I had just got there, but apparently Street Execs had they came and signed the cameraman that was in our studio, and they signed the producer, Fresh Jones, and CO that was in the studio across the hall. That became they, you know. Yeah, this your boy Heartbeatz. He ain't got a heartbeat, he ain't breathing. And I want to shout out my dog Spike and On Site TV. We on site, you already know that.